Hi everyone and welcome to Dream and Be Reviews. I am your host J.E. and today we're talking about Fantastic Four! Oh my gosh, they did it! It's Galactus! It's Galactus! First off, I want to say thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. I normally try to do on here reviews on TV, film and anime. Anyway, let's jump straight into it. So, this film is directed by Matt Shakman. The composer is Michel Gucciani. We have the cinematographer Jess Hall. This film stars Pablo Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Josie Quinn and Eric Moss Bacharach. Also, we've got Ralph Fiennes and we've got Julia Garner. So, this is the fourth iteration of the Fantastic Four, and for me, I was a little bit worried, but I think this is the best one they've done so far. Hands down, it works so well, the cast, the crew, everything about it. Yeah, I'm like so happy, and they got Galactus right. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'll get to talk about him in a bit. So, this is set in the Marvel multiverse and it's set in another universe called Earth 828. And basically, I don't know if you know much about the Fantastic Four. The story goes is that 4 astronauts go up into space and are hit by cosmic rays, which changes who they are and they receive superpowers. However, in this iteration of the film, they've already had their powers for about 4 years. So it gives it a different way of introducing the characters and, in a sense, skipping their origin story. So, let's talk about the cast members in this new iteration of the Fantastic Four. First off, let's talk about Pablo Pascal. He's playing the character Reed Richards. Now, he is the smartest man on the planet of Earth 828. And his main power is he stretches. Next, we've got Sue Storm, played by Vanessa Kirby. And she is pregnant in this iteration. And her superpower is she's invisible. Or she can make herself invisible and create fields, if you want to use that. Next, we have Johnny Storm, who is brother to Sue Richards, and I'm loving what they're doing with this character. And last but not least, we also have Ben Grimm, played by Eric Moss Bacharach, who is best friends to Reed Richards. And it's quite funny that all of them are all astronauts as well, and they can all go into space. But anyway, I will not pick at the comic origin stories of these characters. So, right off the bat, they decide to skip the origin story and use Sue Storm's scenario, which is she's pregnant, as a way to introduce us to all the characters. And I really liked the idea. I thought it really gave so much more warmth to what was going on. And then they also decide to tell kind of what they've been up to. This is the Fantastic Four, through like a documentary style, Top of the Pops or MTV like show, and just show us what they've been up to, what makes them tick, and how famous they have become. I'm loving it. I thought it was really fun, and it was just a nice way to allow time for the characters to really present who they are and what they're doing there, and why they are who they are with these new powers and new responsibilities. So, I just want to talk about Sue Storm briefly. Now, in this film, she's pregnant. And at first you would think it would feel a bit like a plot device, but I was so impressed and happy in how it's not one of those. You really felt it was a genuine scenario. It allowed for the film to gel better and to really emphasize the core essence of and motivation of that film, that it's a film about families, a film about what they would do for each other as a family with powers. And I really enjoyed that presentation being displayed on screen. So let's talk about Johnny Storm, played by Joseph Quinn. Now for me, I love what they've done with the character. Now, in past iterations, he's been known to be more of a Jack the Lad, a ladies' man, a womanizer. And maybe because of what's happened over the last couple of decades, where that kind of behavior or characteristics of male attributes isn't really seen. I love how in this one they kind of don't really address it. They don't really focus on it, and they focus on him being more of a key value in the team. And they focus on the fact that there's a reason, I feel, for the first time, Johnny Storm is there. Not just to be the hothead or to play pranks, but they give him a bit more meat and story, and he seems quite smart. And later on it allows for certain scenes to develop, which I didn't see coming, because normally that responsibility would be laid on the main showrunner, which would be Pablo Pascal or Reed Richards. So I was really impressed and loved Joseph Quinn's performance. So let's talk about Pablo Pascal playing Reed Richards. I have to say, I felt both Reed Richards and Ben Grimm got sidelined in this version. Now, I don't know if maybe they're saving Reed Richards for Avengers Doomsday when he will have to face Doctor Doom. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. Or the writing had been back and not be so present. Now, I understand he's supposed to be the smartest man on the planet. And so maybe that would be more of a deliberate that he's quite withdrawn. I just felt it was a bit of a shame for what they're doing, and I reckon they're just probably holding back and waiting for him to be more useful in more up-and-coming iterations. But I have to admit, there were certain times when he would communicate the honesty or the reality of what was going on. You felt that, oh man, I don't know what's he gonna do. So I'll give Pablo Pascal his credit. He knows how to make it work, even when he hasn't got much to do. Definitely it felt like it was more about the other cast members shining and really coming across strong on the screen. So let's talk about Eric Boss Baccarat. Now, for me, I felt he got the short end of the stick. Definitely Ben Grimm's character is the one you don't really get any real development or storyline. I mean, you get it and you feel like, yes, they're part of the family, but you could feel that they had to focus on the other two, predominantly Sue and Johnny Storm's character, to get across the storyline. And obviously we're introducing the Galactus and the Silver Surfer, so I could see why they short-handed him, but I would have been nice to just have a bit more time. And I was hoping for some of the storylines that was talked about in the comics, where Reed Richards feels terrible for the fact that he can't change his friends back from his very rocky form, body structure. So it's a bit weird that we didn't get to really talk about it, but I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do. But it's a shame. I would have loved to have seen a bit more from him and from his character, and a bit more from the performance as well. So let's talk about the Silver Surfer, played by Julia Garner. Now, when I heard they were doing a gender swap for the Silver Surfer, I was like, is that gonna work? However, in the comics, it's basically the same character. There is a female version of the Silver Surfer. So for me, I wasn't really bothered, and I thought it worked, and it definitely felt, for the first time, you felt real empathy for her and why she was doing what she was doing. And it was great for when Johnny Storm's character collides with her, and allowing those two scenes to work, it really gives the story a bit more of a through line and feel. So I was pretty happy with what she did, and I felt it gave such nice weight to what we were watching. So let's talk about Galactus, played by Ralph Ineson. So, oh my gosh, it's finally here. We have an Galactus, an accurate Galactus, comic book accurate Galactus. And I have to say, finally, oh my god, it's so we've got here. No more gas clouds, no more random images of woo. Basically, I'm a massive fan of Galactus, from the comics to the arcade games, especially Marvel vs. Capcom, and just seeing him finally visualize comic accurate, and I was just like, oh my gosh, he's amazing, he's intimidating, his presence, it was just so cosmic, so like, oh, beautiful, even when the noise, when he lights up his eyes, doom, it was like so cool. And I believe that when they were creating the idea of Galactus and even kind of his origin story, he's supposed to be an allegory or a representation of nature. You know, that nature's just there and it's just going to do what it's got to do. I was a bit saddened that they decided not to go with that kind of version of Galactus and made him to be a bit of a bad guy. He just wants to consume planets for the sake of consuming planets and, you know, those kind of things. But I get it. You got to give a bit more of a reason than him just being this cosmic entity that just wants to consume. I get it. But regardless of that, I loved what I saw. It was just so fun. And he was scary and intimidating. And it was amazing. And I loved it. It was so good. So let's talk a little bit about the actual film. I still like some of the elements of the last Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan. I loved that kind of more darker energy and this kind of more younger approach. But I've seen the film twice by the time they've done this video. And for me, the first time I went to watch it, and for me, I was blown away by Galactus. Oh my god, he was comic book accurate. And then I thought, let me go check it again to just see if this is worth its buck. And after watching it again, I really felt the through line of the family and the sheer responsibility that, let's say, if they were just the only heroes on that planet and they were just having to do the best that they can and rising to the occasion in regards to the helping the world become better, I really loved what I was seeing. And I really loved the fact that it felt a level of responsibility. Yes, I love the throwback to more of an old-timey-wimey kind of Jetsons feels, but it just had a bit more weight and levity. And, you know, it just felt like finally they've got these characters right. Finally, these characters mean something. Finally, there's a bit more weight behind the eyes and not just the superpowers. And I was just really appreciative of that. Yeah, man, really, really enjoyed this film. Love the special effects. I love there's a scene where basically we're dealing with a black hole. That's what I'm gonna say. And I just love that whole scene. Kind of brought me back to the concept of watching Interstellar and just that whole scene as well. But yeah, this film really, really, really smashed it. Hands down. Loved it. Such a great film. Great fun. I can't wait to go watch it again on the Blu-ray and just be like, yo, it's really, really cool. That is going to be the end of my review, and I should now be asking you the question, have you seen Fantastic Four First Steps? What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Which out of the four, and that's quite funny, it's the fourth one out of the four Fantastic Four movies did you prefer? Yeah, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It lets me know if people like what I'm doing, also helps the algorithm. And like I like to say, thank you so much for clicking on this video. And remember, if you can dream, you can be.